This week's episode is a little bit different. It's not your standard high performance philosophy related content. It's more of a tribute to one of my favorite cricketers to have ever played the game. And the reason being, he's decided to retire from one of the biggest formats in cricket, which is Test cricket, which is that 5 day format a lot of you refer to. And cricket has three formats. You have T20, which is this rapid, fast paced format. You have 1 day, which takes 1 day. And then you have Test cricket, which could last 5 days. And this player, you don't need to know cricket to know greatness when you see it. But just in case, I'm talking about Virat Kohli, the famous Indian cricketer who's represented India since 2008. And he's decided to retire from Test cricket. He'd already retired from T20 cricket as well. So now that's two formats down and only one left. And God knows how long he's going to be playing that for as well. But he was the captain of India's Test team, ODI team for a while. Arguably one of the most passionate cricketers the world has ever seen in the last 15 years or so. He brought aggression to the game, which is known for being pretty calm usually, turned fitness into religion, and made an entire generation feel something every single time he stepped onto the field. Not just India, I'm saying the world. Ask anyone in any country, cricketing country, I would say, they would know him and they respect him as well. And his retirement from Test cricket, I was reflecting on it this week and it really hit me hard for some reason. But if you look at his stats, they're truly remarkable. More than 100 Test matches, 123, over 9,000 runs, at an average of nearly 47 in ODIs, over 300 ODIs, over 14,000 runs, at an average of nearly 58, and in T20s, over 100 T20s, over 4,000 runs, averaging nearly 49. He's nearly averaging 50 across the three formats. And that's more than 500 games for his country. That's insanity. I don't think any cricketer has had that longevity. So he just didn't play cricket. He made it into theatre. And you didn't watch Kohli, you felt him. That fire in his eyes, the roar after taking a catch, celebrating a wicket, or even his century, especially after a successful chase, and that walk of swag, that attitude, it was so unapologetic and infectious as well. And as someone who's played the game pretty seriously, it wasn't just inspiring, it was so electric. So I wanted to make this episode of 5 things that I've learned from Virat Kohli's journey, all the way from day one up until his retirement this week. And the first lesson is that discipline is the real game changer. Kohli wasn't always this machine that we ought to see these days, and especially early in his career, he was super talented but soft around the edges as well, as any young cricketer is. But then something flipped. He transformed his body, his mind, his habits. And he very famously around 2017 on an interview mentioned why that happened. And he was basically in 2012, 4 years into making his India debut, during the IPL season, which is a domestic tournament, which is a franchise cricket tournament. He basically he wasn't doing well, and he looked himself in the mirror and didn't like what he saw. And that night, he decided to make a change. That very next day, he made the change. Transformed his body, his mind, his habits, to everything. He's even gone on to say that he doesn't eat for taste anymore, only for performance. That's how much he sacrificed. And he didn't just want to be the best. He trained like it every single day. And that doesn't come from talent. It comes from discipline. And that's what made him so dangerous. Discipline actually turns a player into a problem, but consistency turns a good player into a nightmare. And the second lesson is that intensity is a choice. You'd think he was playing a World Cup final in every single game you watch, whether it's an IPL game or whether it's just it didn't matter if it was a dead rubber or day one of a test match. He always showed up like it was personal. And that's what intensity really is. It's a very hard thing to teach. It's not hype, it's intention. And some people turn it on when the spotlight hits them, but the greats, they bring the spotlight with them. They train with intent. Everything has intent behind it. The third lesson is that it's not just about fire the whole time. There needs to be balance. The irony is that off the field, Kohli seems to be very calm, thoughtful, quiet, at least from the videos, etc., that I've seen, and a couple of people that I know have met him. He's a very humble, respectful person. But when you look at him on the field, he has shown us that aggression isn't about being loud, it's about being locked in. You can be intense and composed, and you can care deeply, but still be measured. And for young athletes, or anyone trying to perform at a high level, that's the model right there. He's raw on the pitch, but off it, he reflects. And that's what makes him pretty rare, because a lot of people are able, give it to someone, let's say, but are not able to take it. One of Kohli's famous quotes is that if you're giving it, you should be able to take it as well. And he's only one of very few cricketers who I've noticed whenever he got basically sledged in cricket. Sledging is like when you chirp a batsman or chirp anyone on the field. It actually fired him up even more, to the point where it was disadvantageous for the other team to chirp on him. But that was the way he would reply back, using obviously verbally, but also through his performance. Like, he used to feed off that back and forth, that aggression. And not a lot of people have that in them. Sometimes they become aggressive, they lose themselves. But he has shown how to balance that. The fourth lesson is that he has actually redefined what it means to be a man. And when you look at his social media following, for example, he has over 200 million followers on Instagram. So you have a lot of eyes on you. He's cried when it hurt him, publicly. He's expressed love towards his family members, friends, openly. He supported his wife during tough times, openly. And he's showed that vulnerability doesn't weaken you, it grounds you. And Kohli actually made it okay to be fierce and emotional, to fight hard and feel deeply. So this is when you would see his aggressive version on the field. Some people actually criticize him for being too aggressive. I just loved it. I think you need to have some fire in your belly, otherwise why play? It wouldn't mean anything to you, would it? But at the same time, know when someone's crossing the lines, especially when it comes to your family, your friends. He always stood up. And the fifth lesson that I've learned and noticed is that he has never ever coasted. Even after hitting the top in terms of winning World Cups, centuries, endorsements, you look at his net worth right now, and I read this very interesting stat. He himself, as one person, is worth more than Cricket Australia collectively, which is an organization. That's remarkable. And yet, he keeps grinding. I'm sure you guys have seen videos of him in the net or in the gym, in his hotel room. He just never stops. And from a lot of people during the IPL, S&C coaches, they say that he's always first in the gym and the last one out. Nets, same thing. First in the nets, last one out in nets. So the greats don't coast. They crave the edge. And comfort is where hunger goes to die. But here's the part that gets very personal for me. When I was chasing a professional contract in England, when you think about trials, matches, that constant uphill battle, I just kept thinking of Virat Kohli as the North Star. His energy, his mindset, it kept me going. I still feel like I could have done a much better job, and that's why I didn't potentially make it. I don't know. But when that dream faded away, I made a pact with myself to keep that mindset with me. And even when I stopped playing seriously, I still play, but not seriously anymore, I make sure that I think like him. And I think that's the legacy that he's left, where people actually admire to be him someday. And in India especially, I think he's every Indian cricketer's dream, idol. So now that he's stepped away from Test cricket, this isn't about stats or rankings. This is about what he stood for, which is intensity, discipline, self-respect, edge, fire, presence. He made young boys stand taller, made gym rats train even harder. He's made grown men believe in a second innings, essentially. So, what do we take from all of this? Here's what I want you to take. That legacy isn't built by moments. It's built by standards. And Kohli's were sky high. So, that's the episode. No outro, no calls to action, just gratitude. For someone who's changed the game, for someone who's raised the bar, and for reminding us pretty much that greatness is a daily decision. To Virat Kohli, thank you.